Hello, welcome to our look ahead to what the papers will be bringing us tomorrow. With me are the broadcaster Penny Smith and Amal Rajan, the editor of The Independent. Thank you for not running away. Tomorrow's front pages, starting with The Independent. It has the headline Education for Sale. It says the Education Secretary Michael Gove plans to let firms run academies and free schools for profit. The Telegraph leads with what it says is the scandal of hospital doctors being paid more to do less after a new contract came into force. And it pictures Sabine Lisicki, who knocked out the defending Wimbledon champion Serena Williams. The Express claims that free banking is to be scrapped, saying Britons are facing soaring charges for using credit and debit cards under new EU plans. The Mail highlights the new £10 test, which predicts postnatal depression. And Andy Murray is there after making it through to the quarter-finals at Wimbledon. The Guardian has a striking picture from Egypt with the warning from the army, listen to the people or else. But it leads on what it calls Obama's scramble to limit the bugging crisis amid EU outrage. The Times also shows Sabine Lisicki after her Wimbledon win. It claims a planned pay rise for MPs is unstoppable without an emergency law change. The Mirror leads on calls for a ban on Chinese lanterns after that fire in Smethwick, which caused £6 million worth of damage. And the FT also reports on Egypt's army giving politicians a last chance warning to resolve the crisis there. So let's make a start. We'll start with the Times on this occasion. And the main picture story is from Wimbledon, with Sabine Lisicki beating Serena Williams in the fourth round. She could hardly speak afterwards, could she, in the interview?
It was wonderful, and she was very teary both on stage and on, both on court and off. And it's wonderful because Serena Williams was a clear favourite. She was the #1 seed. Everyone thought that she was going to come home very easily and smash Lisicki to pieces. But actually, it was a brilliant match, and over 3 sets, she won and then couldn't stop crying. So it was wonderful to watch.
I just love the photographs in all the papers. They're all like either like that, oh God, I did that, or by the court, by the net, and everything else. And you just know what she's feeling, because she's going, I've kind of slaughtered this kind of, you know, almost this sort of big kind of image that she was never going to get.
She was 10 to 1. She was 10 to 1 to win. It's wonderful that Wimbledon has become so unpredictable. I mean, I know that Djokovic and Murray, who are the top 2 seeds of the men's, are still in, but we've lost Nadal, we've lost Federer, we've lost Sharapova. So it sort of feels like suddenly all these underdogs are in with a chance.
I love an underdog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell you're British. Love an underdog.
Quite right.
Let's take a look at this main story, though. MPs' pay rise is unstoppable without changing the law. But party leaders obviously fearing a backlash against a bonkers increase. But doesn't it come down to the fact that MPs
2 years ago,
yes,
this is a farce. 2 years ago, MPs said, or the boss of the MPs said, I tell you what, we don't like actually ruling about our pay, because everybody gets annoyed. The population rises up and says, no, this should not happen. You should never have increases. So they said, right, we're going to make sure that we don't have anything to do with it, and we're going to set up this Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority. Then the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority comes out and says, you need a pay rise. And they go, no, not now. You weren't supposed to be doing that now. It's like, yes, Prime Minister, isn't it?
Exactly. But I love the fact that the word bonkers has got onto the Times front page, by the way, which is a first we should note. I mean, they can't win, basically, because this was a response, as Penny says, this was a response to the expenses scandal where trust in politicians had fallen to this huge low. They said, we'll take it out of our hands. Now this thing has come back and said, actually, you need to get paid better, but the overall cost of politics is going to come down, which is a slightly complicated argument, because what people basically out there are thinking is, basically MPs are on the take, they're getting paid even better.
But I thought Nick Robinson, our political editor, did a really clever piece today when he went out and said to people, how much do you think MPs earn? And lots of people thought that they earn much, much more than they actually do. And that's how we've got into this crazy situation, isn't it? That they need all these expenses because they don't actually earn enough to support the kind of this sort of...
They have staff.
This life.
They have to have people
live,
who run all these places, and they essentially run 2 places. They have to be here to vote, and then they have to be in their constituencies as well.
And they have all these complicated allowances, and it gets tricky because if you live near London, then your travel costs are low for when you're commuting from Westminster. If you live in Inverness, then your travel costs are much higher. And of course, they spend lots and lots of their time around university peers, for instance, who go and get paid huge amounts of money, so they're fantastically jealous, and they think that getting paid 70 or 75,000, which is what's being proposed here, is a low salary, whereas to most people who on a median wage of 27,000, it's a very high salary.
But then you've only got to look at the people who run, for example, boroughs or councils or whatever, and they're being paid so much more than the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
Yeah, well done, the Times, thank you. The Daily Mirror, ban these 20p firebomb lanterns. These pictures from Smethwick, just unbelievable, aren't they? With this Chinese lantern thought to have set off this incredible fire at a recycling plant in the West Midlands. 11 firefighters hurt trying to put it out. They look pretty when they go up, but this is what can happen.
And we have both been guilty of setting fire to these things. I mean, you know, because you kind of, it's been something that's happened in the last few years, hasn't it? You kind of write hopes and dreams on the side of it or whatever, really, and then you set fire to it and you send it off, and off it goes into the night sky and twinkles and looks really pretty. And actually, I was worried because it was heading towards trees, and luckily it was snowy. But I kind of went, oh, do you think this is going to be okay? And everybody else went, oh, stop it. People have been doing this for years.
You do sound like such a wet
Party
blanket,
pooper.
don't you? If you say, oh, I'm not sitting one of those up. Because farmers don't like them either, do they? Because they come down.
I can't say I'm an expert in farming opinion, but I'm sure if you say that they don't like them, that's obviously true. The thing that I don't quite get is how on earth you regulate this. So I mean, if you
ban them, don't you?
Yeah, but and you can.
Like
There's lots of
fireworks,
things.
I suppose.
There's lots of things you can ban, but I could just see, you know, if I was a 16-year-old kid, which I was not that long time ago.
Oh, we know you're very, very young.
Terrifyingly. I could just imagine a sort of black market popping up where people think
A
actually.
black market in Chinese lanterns?
Yeah, I think it's conceivable. Totally conceivable.
Goodness me.
I tell you what, the other story that on the front page of the Daily Mirror is just so
You're
sad.
going off piste here.
Sorry, I know,
You
but I
can't
just
show
wanted
it.
to. I know, but I just wanted to say, Pierce Brosnan is devastated. His daughter's died from cancer, and it's
a year
just
younger than his wife
died
was when
also
she
died
died
of
too.
cancer. Terrible.
Very, very heartbreaking story. Let's have a quick look at The Independent as you're here.
Yes,
Amal.
indeed.
An exclusive for your political correspondent, James Cusick. Education for sale. Gove plans to let firms run schools for profit. Haven't you run stories a bit like this before?
We have, and they're always, and they tend to be completely true. I mean, I'm sure you're going to say that the Department for Education is fantastically annoyed with us, which is, I think, a sign of success. And of course, James is a fantastic correspondent, and I stand by every single word he's written.
Tell us what he's written in a nutshell.
The basic story is Michael Gove has long said that he wouldn't rule out academies making profits if that was a way of delivering good education. And James has spoken to lots of people inside the Department for Education who are very worried at the rate at which potentially hedge funds and venture capitalists are being invited to get involved in education. Not necessarily a bad thing, and in fact we've written a supportive leader tomorrow, but just it's a very good exclusive as to what the thinking is behind the or inside the Department for Education.
It's interesting that you've written a supportive leader, because immediately from the front page you wouldn't know that you were supportive of it.
Yeah, what we like to do is provoke people